Hey everybody, I'm Tara from Crooked Row, and today is our onion planting day. Christopher and I are both here in the garden, and we are going to plant some of those in ground and some of them in a raised bed. It's a raised bed that really needs some work, and onions are they stay right on top of the soil, so I'm not gonna have to do a bunch to this raised bed to get these onions in there. This year, I'm starting from plants. And the reason why I chose to do plants this year is because I've started so many plants in my grow room that it was not very conducive to me also starting onions. Onions are not a lot of trouble. I do like to plant them with some goodies. I always put in triple phosphate, bone meal, blood meal, and Biotone starter fertilizer. I also like to hit them with a liquid fish fertilizer until I know that they're really starting to bulb, and by then that's when all the bone meal that I have planted it with will really start to feed that plant. So it takes about 4 months. When people think that they're going to instantaneously get their nutrients from the soil, but that's not true. So hopefully you have healthy soil when you start. If you don't, maybe get in the habit in the springtime before you plant anything to go ahead and put those nutrients down. Bone meal, blood meal. Some people use like the chicken manures. Make sure it's super well rotted, and then that means it's already available for your plant. So I don't have to worry about any of that because we always keep our beds with like triple phosphate and bone meal and blood meal and lots of rotted manure and things like that, and our own compost. So I'm gonna plant these today and take you along with us. I think we're planting 700 onions today, but you'll see how fast it is and how quickly we can get to all of this planted. I'm very thankful that I have Christopher as my helper today because this would be a lot longer otherwise. And I have so many other things to work on in the garden. So let's get started with the onions and see how far we can get. As you can see behind me, Christopher is digging out this corner of the bed, and it's because the side has popped open. So just like we addressed this with our other beds, we are going to put on the corner. We're going to put these corner pieces on to get us through this growing season. So Christopher's going to do that, and then we'll finish topping this out and dressing it. So I'm not including this in the onion planting time, just so you know. Okay, we have that corner all fixed, and I'm gonna put in some triple phosphate from Espoma. I'm just gonna put a little bit all over into the bed, and then we're going to section our rows out and put in bone meal, blood meal, and Biotone. And then we're gonna get a wheelbarrow full of compost and just kind of shimmy it all down into the compost. So we are finally ready to get started planting. So let's get started. Okay, so I just wanted to explain something really quickly that Christopher and I just went through. So when you're planting onion plants, they come to you dried, and they usually, not always, but they usually utilize machines. And so machines clearly aren't paying attention to what is a good plant and what is a bad plant. All onion plants will grow. So if you just want tons and tons of plants and you're not worried about size, disregard everything I'm going to say. But you want to pick plants, like these are candy onions, and they're just smaller than like the red wing that we just planted. And so this has a slight bulb to it, whereas this one is pretty small and straight. Okay, so let me show you the difference between the two. So this is substantially thicker and slightly bulbed. Okay, so again, these will grow onions, but they'll be small. We try to pick out the ones that are thicker and like almost pencil size. I'm writing. So that's what we're gonna plant. Okay, so Christopher and I finished out the bed that we just did, and I wanted to bring you over and show you in the center of the garden, like where we planted our garlic. So right here, like here's our backyard. Here's the 2 garlic beds that we planted in the fall. And then right next to that, which we don't have rocks around it yet, we planted, I think like 600 onions in here. The only thing that we have left to do is for us to water. Okay, well there you have it. We have all of our onions for the year planted. The ones we have in the raised bed are really fresh eating onions, and so the ones that we have in the ground are Yellow Spanish and Walla Walla. Yellow Spanish, we've had some of those last for almost a year. And our Walla Wallas last at least a good 6 months in storage. We just keep them in burlap sacks. And if I see that they're maybe on the verge of going bad, I'll chop them up and just freeze them like on a baking sheet and then put them in. I actually triple Ziploc them so that my freezer doesn't smell like onions. Oh. But the raised bed will be for fresh eating, and we'll kind of just pull like as they bulb, we'll pull those and use those in the kitchen. They can last a little while, but not very long. So I think candies might last a good deal. I don't think reds ever last very long, so I'd have to look up red wing. But usually when I look stuff up about any kind of red onions, they usually are for fresh eating. So anyway, I just want to encourage you guys to get out there and plant your onions. It's that time of year, and it really pays off because right now, I don't know if it is this way where you guys are, but we just went to Kroger's the other day and bought organic onions, and they were well over $1 a piece. So it's definitely worth planting your onions. And I don't know if anyone else has noticed this, but we've had trouble getting some produce. Like it was like 3 weeks before we could get potatoes. So again, I don't know what that was. I know everybody has an egg shortage right now. Thankfully, we have chickens and we do not have an egg shortage. Actually, if anything, we have a way overabundance of eggs and we're trying to figure out what to do with them. We've been giving some of them away because we know that our neighbors aren't able to get any eggs right now. So we had the Biotone and the bone meal, and we add blood meal too. I don't always add blood meal, but sometimes I do if I have it. And I just want to encourage you to utilize those things because we have a lot of success with onions. We get big onions, we'll get, I call them supermarket size. Now I understand that the supermarket sometimes has huge onions, but like, you know, a normal onion is about that big. But we get great big ones that are like a pound, some of them 2 pounds, just huge onions. And they're very, very easy to grow. After you've done your, the original bone meal, triple phosphate, biotone, and maybe blood meal, then you really don't need to fertilize them. I will hit them sometimes when I'm thinking about it with some fish fertilizer. I know that sounds like a lot, but it's actually not, because I usually just kind of swipe them when I'm getting everything else that actually needs it. So it's not even very consistent. They seem to thrive. They, I know they love a little bit of wood ash too. Always remember too, wood ash, it goes out of the soil quickly. So, you know, if you add a little bit of wood ash, you know, maybe a month later you could add a little bit more. But there's all kinds of tips and tricks on onions. This is what works for us. So any handy tips that I can give you, I always try to, and just encourage you to get out there and get growing. Thank you so much for watching. We are at that time of year where I really could film every day, but I kind of don't want to put makeup on every day. Sorry. There's just 10, 20, 30 things to do every single day. And so we try to show you one of those things that we're doing a couple times a week. So, if you have any questions, put them in the comments below. We love to hear from you guys. Thank you so much for watching. And remember, if we can get our onions started, anybody can. Thanks. Bye.